Welcome, everyone, for the Oregon State Press Conference. A couple notes for you. Make sure your phones are silenced. Remember to provide your name and media affiliation each time you ask a question. For our friends on Zoom, go ahead and raise your hand, and once we're finished in the room, we'll get to y'all. And as a reminder, recording press conferences on cell phones or cameras is prohibited. Today from Oregon State, we've got Sela Heidi, AJ Marat, and Kelsey Reese. So we'll start off here in the room. If you want to raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you.
Nick Datchell from the Oregonian. For any of the players, obviously November you played teams that are like this. Why are you more equipped to play this level of team than you were in November?
Sela, why don't you start us off?
I think we're definitely more equipped just because we've had so much time to continue to grow individually and as a group. We've learned each other so much more, and I think that our non-conference and conference schedule has prepared us to kind of be ready to see anything. Coach Scott has talked a lot about it, but the WCC has teams that play every kind of offense you can imagine and every kind of defense. So I think that just every lesson that we've learned throughout every game has gotten us ready for this.
AJ, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think each of us are a bit more comfortable in our role as well. You know, all of us have stepped up into bigger roles, and I think we're finally comfortable in that. You know, watching Kennedy step up as the one has been huge, and T and Kat, you know, having a huge impact as well. I think that's been big for us.
Why not us in the last week? That gets said a lot this time of year. What leads you to believe why not us?
Kelsey, you want to take this one?
Yeah, for sure. I think we've shown sparks throughout different games of how good we are and how capable we are, and we have a great coaching crew and that know how to scout and know how to make plays in this position. And if we play at our best, I think we can beat almost anyone out there, and I think that's true with a lot of things. So as long as we're all together and all doing as well as we can, we think we have a great chance.
Sela, you have anything to add? You good? AJ? Good? Anything else here in the room?
For Sela, why has this year come together for you? This will be your 5th year. What has happened to you that's made it come together for you this season?
I think just opportunity and growing my confidence through getting those opportunities. I mean, the last 4 years have really been just like big learning, lots of learning for me. And I think this past year has just been an opportunity for me to really show what I've learned and grown in, and just continue to grow on the court in the new position that I've gotten to play. And this team especially, like, I think we've kind of looked at ourselves as like a group of underdogs who have kind of like come together and just push each other and work extremely hard every day. And like you said, we've said a lot of why not us, but we've had that mentality all season. So I think just really channeling that.
We'll go down here to the front.
Doug Bonjour, AP. What makes playing UNC challenging, and can you draw any similarities to other teams you played? Any of you can answer.
AJ, you want to start?
Yeah, they're a super great team. They're really talented. I mean, we're all just really excited to get the opportunity to play a Power 5 team like this. We were just saying earlier that they kind of remind us of Illinois, who we played in the non-conference. And that was, a great matchup for us, and it was a really fun game, so we're excited to do it again.
Kelsey, anything to add?
No?
I think... Good? Okay.
Lindsay Gibbs with Power Plays. A lot of the country fell in love with you all last year during the tournament and then maybe didn't expect you to get back. Why did you all stick with this program despite all of the changes? And what was it about this program that allowed you to get back to this stage so quickly?
I think a lot of our decision to stay was that trust. We had trust in Scott and the rest of the coaches that we'd get a great experience out of the year and that they'd push us to be as good as we could be. And we also had faith that they'd recruit good players to play around and good people more than anything. And then throughout the year, we were able to really gel together as a team and learn more and gain that trust within our group. And I think that's helped push us to where we are at the moment.
All right. Anything else from the folks in the room? We do have one on Zoom. We want to go to that. R.L. Clark, KMTR. Go ahead, identify yourself, and go ahead and ask your question.
Ronald Clark, KMTR in Eugene. For any of you guys, this team has some legit size in the paint. I know against some of the teams in the WCC, you guys were able to use that paint play to your advantage. How do you guys see that matchup going on down low?
Sheila, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think that our size is definitely one of our strengths, and that's something that Oregon State has done traditionally. Coach Scott has always recruited fantastic post players, and that's just kind of how he designs how we play. So I think that our size will definitely be an advantage going down. He calls Kelsey and I the Twin Towers, and it's just a lot of fun to get to play with someone who's the same size. So I think it'll be an advantage for sure.
Kelsey, I think you need to dive in on this one.
I guess so. Yeah, no, it's been great playing with C all year. I love that. Love being able to get her the ball and space out, and then her get me the ball and her space out. So it's been a really cool thing for us to have and a big advantage. And I think especially down the stretch, we've been able to take even more advantage of it and really use it to help us do well. And obviously, if anyone's following the numbers, Sila's shooting at such a great percentage. So if we can get her the ball, we know it's a good look for us. So just making sure we're doing all the right things in this game and using that to make good plays.
All right, we're going to go to Brett, K-E-Z-I, if you can identify yourself and go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, hey guys, Brett Taylor, KZI9 Sports in Eugene. AJ, for you specifically, I asked this question to Scott Ruick a couple weeks ago, but I'm just wondering your opinion. What do you feel like what you guys have been able to achieve this season? What message do you feel like you guys have sent the nation, considering just everything that this program has been through over the last year? I know that you yourself over the last 4 years have dealt with a lot of adversity yourself. Just what do you feel like the message this team has sent to the nation, just with, all the chaos, the transfer portal, conference realignment, and everything else within this program?
I think the message is don't doubt the Beavers. It's been super fun to play with this team, and I think, even us at the beginning struggled with, some doubt. But it's been really fun to prove, other people wrong, and ourselves included. It's just been really fun this entire season to get to where we are.
Looks like Ronald on the Zoom has another one.
For any of you guys, obviously you talked about the mantra of why not us. Do you feel like, because Oregon State has notoriously been a bit of a higher seed, do you guys feel like, coming in, having to win that WCC tournament and now being a lower seed, that it makes you a little bit more dangerous because you have more to play for than some of these higher seed teams?
Who wants to go?
We definitely believe we can be dangerous and are a tough matchup, and we have faith in our ability. Obviously, we reckon this is going to be a great game with North Carolina. Obviously, they're a great team, have done really well all season to get that 3 seed, but we're really excited to play against them. And then going into the WCC tournament, we knew to get to this stage and to get to March Madness, we would need to win that. And we were able to do that, and I think that gave us confidence in our ability to make plays down the stretch and to get things done when we need to. And we're really excited to try and build on that in this tournament and try and, show the world how good we can be and, prove ourselves a little bit. So we're really excited with this great matchup that we get to have.
Got anything to add, AJ?
It's well said.
Well said. We do have another one on the Zoom here. Les, go ahead and identify yourself and fire away.
Hello, yes. two of your assistant coaches played for Scott in the NCAA tournament. How has their experience, have they talked about their experience this week? And have you learned anything from that?
Well, this morning we watched clips of Devin and Sid play at UNC when they were in the tournament. So, I mean, just their guidance and their advice has always been great all season, but especially like in this position where we're coming in and we're underdogs, they're so invaluable to us. I mean, they bring so much light and maturity, and yeah, I mean, they're just great.
You guys good? Anything else in the room for these ladies? I think we're good. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you. Go Bees.
And we will continue on with Oregon State head coach Scott Ruick. Welcome, Coach. Down in front.
Hi, Scott. Doug Bonjour, AP. You've come in this tournament a lot of times as a higher seed. I'm just curious now as a 14 if that kind of changes your perspective, maybe you feel any less pressure or...
Yeah, it is different. But in many ways, it's the same. You have to win. You know, and we definitely have less pressure. You know, if you look at it from an outside perspective, you know, but, you know, when you lose, it's over. And so it doesn't matter what your seed is. And so there is pressure in that. I have been, you know, most of those years in the tournament we've hosted, we've been at home to open, and there's always been a funky pressure that comes with that because you're the favorite, you're typically the better team, you have your fan base there, you know, that expects a win, and you've got a team that's very confident coming in and in many cases has won their league, in most cases anyway, and they have nothing to lose. You know, it would seem. And so that higher seed, I've always said it's in some ways it's a blessing, in some ways it's a curse, you know, and we've had success going on the road, we've had success at home, you know, and we've obviously come up short as well in those situations. So, yeah, it's for this group, it's just a super exciting opportunity that they've created for themselves, you know, and we know we're absolutely the underdog going into it, and so excited to see what we can do.
And how about just UNC? What stands out about them? What challenges they present?
I mean, they're good and they're veteran. They've got great guard play overall. You know, they've got with Utsby, just the heart and soul. You know, you can just tell they've got a will to win that's unique, that's special, that elevates. And you've got somebody that's been in the program as long as she has, puts up in the numbers that she's had and the accolades that she's earned. That's special. It's not common to see that, and maybe this time of year it's common, you know, but it's not common throughout the year. And so they've got this kind of that it factor that just stands out as you watch them compete. And around her, they've just got great pieces. You know, you've got a great rebounder inside that can score one-on-one and impact shots. You've got great guard play that can shoot it over the top, point guard play that can hit timely shots that are contested, and then you've got attacking guards, you know, and so they can be disruptive defensively, they can hurt you in transition, and then they can grind it out if they have to. So I'd just say they're a very good team, and so it's a big test for us tomorrow.
Nick Daschle from the Oregonian. You did build the case there for the underdog coming into your place and challenging you, yet you're 8-0 in first-round games, so it's not like you guys aren't ready for these things. What do you feel like you've been able to do in you know, getting ready for the tournament to have that kind of success?
Same thing as every year. I think you just try to eliminate weaknesses throughout the season, and some years you have further to go than others, and this was a year you've been watching since day one, Nick, with this group, knowing that, man, we've had miles to go. So many weaknesses were so obvious at the beginning, and we couldn't avoid them, and then we'd have these moments where everything would sync up and you could see a glimpse of what could be. And then all the weaknesses started to disappear. And not that they're gone, but they're less and less. And this team knows who they are now. They know how to play Oregon State basketball. And, when you look at the sum of the parts, we've become a pretty good team, that I think is dangerous. And I'm just so happy for them because, that is a tough journey to be a part of. It takes a lot of courage to show up every day when you've got a coaching staff pushing you beyond your comfortable, place where, maybe you start doubting yourself a little bit. And we've had to walk this line all year to try to just get a little bit more without breaking them and making it not fun because it's too hard. And certainly when I knew this group could be special was how we managed the adversity that we threw them to in November and December. With toughest preseason schedule I think we've ever played. Not a lot of wins to show for it. A bunch of double-digit losses. And they kept their head, and they're just like, okay, this is who we are today, and let's get better, And it's a long season. I think we can be pretty good, and you could see that belief. And I give the people that were up here before me all the credit, for keeping this team engaged when, man, it was hard at times. And then here we are at the end of the year playing, by far the best basketball of the year for us. And they're looking around going, we're a good team. And for a teacher and a coach, it's been, as rewarding as anything I've ever done.
Speaking of November, you played a lot of tournament-type teams in that month. Aside from all the obvious improvement that you guys have made, is there one or two things you feel like you're better equipped that you're able to face these type of teams now than November? Is there one or two things that really stand out to you?
Yeah, discipline. I think, just our defensive ability, we made so many mistakes. Only because we just didn't know. We're asking a group of people that have never played together really to execute on both ends of the floor against, a Final Four worthy team probably in UConn. That's a big ask. And so, that game opened with a blown defensive transition assignment that is like breathing for our program typically. And it's like, oh my goodness, we just have so far to go. And so I would say the consistency and the accuracy on the defensive end of the floor has been what has allowed this team, just their buy-in to that. They realized if we're going to do anything this year, we have to become a great defensive team because, we have struggled offensively most of the year. And so to stay in games and have a chance, you've got to be locked down. And so they have given in to what that takes, including rebounding. And so I'd say defensive accuracy and rebounding have been 1 and 2 on the defensive rebounding. And on the other end of the floor, just seeing the floor and understanding, who we are, going through reads. If you look at our three-point shooting in the first half of the year compared to the second half of the year, it's night and day different. Remarkably different. Well, it wasn't that this team can't shoot. It was that we're shooting a contested three every single time because the ball's getting there late and we're up against the shot clock and we're shooting terrible shots because we are not executing well. And so then I'd add to that just offensive execution and understanding what we're trying to accomplish, and the ball is just moving to where we look like, a legitimately good team. That's tough to defend.
So much of the nation hasn't seen you since the big run last year, and obviously so much has changed. What do you want people to know about this team in particular and the journey? What a journey you've been on since in the last 12 months.
Yeah. Well, they should be celebrated as much as anybody, in my opinion. What they've done is as remarkable as anything I've been a part of to get back to this. And they've covered so much ground. When you look at the makeup of the roster, we don't have one person that's been a go-to player on a college team in her career. Not one. Everybody's been a role player. We returned AJ, as a returning starter, and Kelsey started most of last year for us before Tamia Gardner took her spot, and I brought her off the bench. Outside of that, Kennedy was a role player at the backup one, and Sela rarely played. And then the people that joined us, we didn't get started really recruiting until mid-April last year because our year went so long, and then the decisions took a little while for, our former players to make. We didn't know what we needed. And so that is a group assembled in late April, early May. And they were all still looking, none of them had played a role like that. So for this group to do what it takes to be as cohesive as necessary, and then to rise into go-to scorers and go-to defenders, and it just, a gritty, tough team that's not only did we deserve to compete, we should win. That any coach would tell you, I believe, that, being close and winning are typically, that's like a Grand Canyon of a leap. It's not close, actually. It's it's easy to be close, but to close teams out and get the stops you need, and then to execute and get the bucket that you need, that usually comes with years of experience. And for this group, they've done it in a year. It's like light speed, just how it's all come together. So that only happens with great leadership inside the locker room and high level of character, that can choose to do what it takes to overcome all those things. And so I just think, that the growth from day one till today is as significant as I can imagine it being anywhere at any time. I've not been a part of something quite like it.
You've had Sela for 2 years. I was wondering if you could talk about the evolution of how you've taken her game and figured out what she could do, what she couldn't really do, and made her into the player that she's become this season.
Well, Sela is special. I recruited her because I saw that potential day one, even though she hadn't had an opportunity to prove it. Injuries derailed her senior year in high school, derailed her time at Cal. And then she arrived in Corvallis and was coming off of, she was healthy, but she didn't believe in her body yet. And that's a tough place to be, especially for a big. Not to trust your knees, maybe, not to trust your core strength, not to trust your body in general. It's a hard place to be when your mind is there instead of on the game. But the skill set's there. And so then it was okay, can I do this? And what if I try and I'm not quite good enough? And then there's all these, these things that are inside the person that cause you to doubt yourself maybe. And so it's been a struggle, like a fight, and trying to help bring it out of her every day. And so you'd see these flashes. I mean, a year ago, she'd have a day or two where I'd get on her, and she would actually, for a stretch, give Ray a ton of trouble in practice. And it's okay, that's the Sela that, I know is in there. And now that's just become more and more consistent. She's given to the game completely different level of effort. She's been in the gym getting shots up all year long, off season through the year. She's just taken everything to another level. So to see her have success and to see herself differently has been extremely rewarding. And it's all because of her and her teammates encouraging her and, helping her just operate at a different level as a competitor ultimately. And so she's a sweetheart of a human, as kind as they come. Maybe you'd say a big teddy bear. But down the stretch, those of you who have been watching have seen a fierce competitor come out of her, someone that will rip rebounds, fight for loose balls, get low and stay low. And she's made such a massive difference in our evolution.
Coach, we've got a couple on Zoom we'll get to.
Sounds great.
Ronald, why don't you go ahead and identify yourself and fire away.
Ronald Clark, KMTR in Eugene. Coach, obviously it's been a journey for you guys. Coming in with that lower seed, you talked about it a little bit, but do you feel like this makes you a little bit more dangerous in this seeding?
I don't know what that means. What do I think of that? I mean, I feel like if you're a top seed, you're dangerous. Like I'd say North Carolina's dangerous. So maybe the history that we have had as a program, as a coaching staff, I guess as a low seed, you wouldn't want to see maybe a program that has had the success that we've had previously, because this is not new for us. Sometimes you get a low seed, maybe it's new or something. But I think it just means that we've got a big challenge on somebody else's home floor, and yet it's a group that's won in some big environments historically and this year. And so, yeah, I hope people think we're dangerous.
All right, we're going to go to Brett. Brett, go ahead and identify yourself and fire away.
Hey, Coach. Brett Taylor, KZI 9 Sports. You guys have obviously faced a ton of tough opponents this season. I'm just kind of wondering, where do you guys kind of place North Carolina in this ranking? Do you think this is one of the toughest teams you'll face, one or two? And just, I'm curious, how much do you kind of look back, or how much have you looked back to your guys' game against UConn with this team heading to this matchup, pointing that, hey, we played well against UConn. We can do it again against North Carolina and win this time heading into this first round?
Well, we certainly need to approach the game with confidence, and I think our preseason is the reason that we're able to do that. I don't know what else would give us that hope. I would say that statistically speaking, North Carolina is second on our schedule from just UConn's got to be 1, right? And they're a 2, and North Carolina's a 3 seed. So I'd say they're the second best team on our schedule this year, based upon that, and that's how it appears as well in watching them. The UConn game, way back in November, was the moment that this team understood how hard they had to play defensively. And from that point forward, we always had that game to look back on. And I'm very grateful for that experience. They gave into it that day, and it will demand that exact same effort, tomorrow for us to have a chance. And so I'm grateful for that. The Illinois game is one, and I think the teams have some similarities. North Carolina's had a better season overall, but the style of play and their guard play reminds me of Illinois just a little bit. And we really learned a lot that week getting ready for the Illini. They shot lights out against us and beat us. But that style of play and their athleticism coming at you and attacking the rim, I think has some similarities. And so I'm very grateful for our non-conference schedule and how it's prepared this team, not only for the West Coast Conference, and our opportunity to win that, but for tomorrow's game as well.
All right, we'll go to Les Garrett. Les, go ahead.
Yeah, Les Garrett, Corvallis Gazette Times. Scott, you coached 2 of your assistant coaches in the NCAA tournament. How has their connection to the program been helpful all season and now in particular?
I don't know how you put value on it. I think when you have 2 amazing humans like Devin and Sydney are, that are invested in the program that poured into them, but they also helped build. They come in with just an ownership, a confidence, and then just they're us. They care so much about people, so they have this inclusive environment. They just love on these players day after day. The team can look to them. They've been in the trenches. They've been there, done that. So they have given our team so much confidence. When they say you can do it, it just means so much. And it's been a dream to get to coach with both of them and have them back in these capacities. The way it's impacted me in our program is just having that level of consistency. They know exactly what it takes. They know who we are as a program, and so they're just as on brand as it gets for Oregon State. And so I think that their impact has been immeasurable.
We'll take our last one from Ronald on the Zoom. Ronald, go ahead.
Against a lot of the WCC teams, you guys were able to have that size advantage and just play bully ball in the paint. This North Carolina team has some serious height on them as well. How do you feel like that paint matchup is going to go?
I think it's really key to the game. I think, they do it. Their identity is defense. You have to watch 5 minutes of an ACC game to hear the commentators talk about North Carolina's defense and how they're the #1 defense in the ACC. Well, that includes rebounding. That includes taking away the rim. They're great at it. They help so well and so quick. And I really admire how hard they play and how physical that they are. fortunately, we have some history with that. I mean, we've seen a lot of physicality this year. So we know that we're going to have to match that, surpass it, if possible. And our position defensively inside the paint and against the drive is going to be so key to tomorrow's game. And so I think it's, usually games this time of year are won under the basket, and I would assume that tomorrow's game will be won, right there as well. And so I think you're focused on the pivotal aspect of tomorrow's game.
All righty, Coach. Thank you. Appreciate your time, and good luck.
Thank you so much.